Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Dr. Barkis Ophthalmology Tutorials. Today we will discuss about vitreous hemorrhage. Vitreous hemorrhage is also most commonly asked 5-mark question or even the 3-mark question, and it is important clinically also. So in this video we will be discussing the vitreous hemorrhage under the headings of definition, what are the various causes of vitreous hemorrhage, what is the mechanism of vitreous hemorrhage, what are the symptoms and signs, and the treatment of vitreous hemorrhage. So without much delay, let's begin our video on vitreous hemorrhage. So before going to the definition of the vitreous hemorrhage, you should know the anatomy of the vitreous hemorrhage in brief. So as you all know, this is the eyeball. The outer structure is the sclera, the middle one is the choroid, as you know, and the inner one is the retina. This part of the eyeball is filled with what is known as the vitreous. Okay, and so this vitreous is a gel-like structure which is having 99% of water content, and the 1% is made up of hyaluronic acid as well as the collagen fibrils. Okay, so that is the vitreous gel, and this is 4 ml in the volume and constitutes around 80% of the volume of the eyeball. So the boundaries of the vitreous is posteriorly it is surrounded by retina all over, anteriorly the lens, the zonules which are holding the lens. Okay, so that is the boundary of the vitreous, and this vitreous is transparent, hence it helps in transmission of the light rays from outside to the retina. Okay, so this is the brief anatomy of the vitreous, and this vitreous has very firm attachment to retina at 4 sides mainly, that is the vitreous base, okay, at the optic disc, at the exit of the vortex veins of the retinal vasculature, and at the fovea. So whenever there is traction or pull at these sides, it can lead to vitreous hemorrhage. So what is vitreous hemorrhage? If there is a hemorrhage or bleed into the vitreous cavity, simple. So you can define the vitreous hemorrhage as extravasation of blood into the potential spaces in and around the vitreous cavity. Okay, so here the potential spaces are, there is a space behind the lens, okay, called a space of Petit, and there is a space behind the hyaloid or the boundaries of the vitreous, that is called a subhyaloid space. There also, even if there is hemorrhage, that is also included as vitreous hemorrhage, as well as, which is quite obvious, if there is a blood in the vitreous cavity, that is called as vitreous hemorrhage. So the next is why there should be bleed into the vitreous cavity, means how the vitreous hemorrhage will occur. So as you all know, we have the blood in the blood vessel. So this is the blood vessel, and there is a blood flowing in the blood vessel which is there in the retinal ball. So if there is a direct trauma to this blood vessel, the blood can seep into the vitreous cavity. That is one mechanism. The second is the blood vessel wall, or the blood vessel which is formed itself is abnormal. Then this vessel wall is weak, hence it will give way, or there can be even micro leak from this blood vessel wall leading to vitreous hemorrhage. The third is there can be bleed in the adjacent structure which can seep into the vitreous cavity. So these are the 3 main mechanisms by which the vitreous hemorrhage will occur. So now let's see the causes for each mechanism. The first one is the blood vessel wall is good, but there is a direct trauma to the blood vessel wall leading to bleed. So the obvious causes are, the first is trauma, which can be either the blunt ocular trauma or the penetrating ocular trauma, which can lead to the break in the wall of the blood vessel. The second is the posterior vitreous detachment. So whenever there is PVD or the posterior vitreous detachment, the posterior phase of the vitreous is pulled away from the retina. So during that pull, the vitreous will exert a traction over the retinal blood vessels, which can break, leading to the vitreous hemorrhage. Okay. So the second mechanism is whenever the blood vessel wall itself is abnormal, like in case of new vessels which are formed following ischemia. So whenever there is ischemia, like in case of central retinal vein occlusion or diabetic retinopathy, sickle cell retinopathy, ocular ischemic syndrome. So whenever the retina suffers ischemia, because of all these causes which I told just now, that is diabetic retinopathy, central retinal vein occlusion, ocular ischemic syndromes, sickle cell retinopathy is ischemia, which will lead to the proliferation of VEGF, that is vascular endothelial growth factors, which will stimulate the formation of new blood vessel wall. Okay. So this new blood vessel wall which is formed is abnormal, means there is no tight junctions which are normally present in the normal blood vessel, or it is weak, hence it will give way easily and can lead to vitreous hemorrhage. And the third mechanism is the bleeding from the adjacent structures, like in case of microaneurysms, or if there is tumor of the choroid or the retina, if there is CNVM in case of ARND, that is age-related macular degeneration, then these new vessels will bleed and this blood can seep into the vitreous cavity, leading to vitreous hemorrhage. So these are the various mechanisms as well as the related causes for your vitreous hemorrhage. To summarize, the first one is where there is a direct trauma to the blood vessel, that is following trauma or following posterior vitreous detachment. The second is the new vessels which are formed are abnormal. So what are the causes for formation of new vessels? Central retinal vein occlusion, diabetic retinopathy, ocular ischemic syndrome, and even the sickle cell retinopathy can lead to the vitreous hemorrhage. The third is whenever the blood is coming from the adjacent structures, like in case of microaneurysms or tumors or even the CNVM stage of ARNT. And these are the causes in case of adults. If you look into the children, the causes for vitreous hemorrhage are little different. The causes for vitreous hemorrhage in children are, like if you see any child with a vitreous hemorrhage, you should suspect shaken baby syndrome, okay, or it can be harboring a retinoblastoma, leukemias, retinoschisis, and even the high myopia are the various causes of vitreous hemorrhage in children. So what are the symptoms of vitreous hemorrhage? And that depends upon the amount of vitreous hemorrhage. If the vitreous hemorrhage is very small, then the patient will experience the floaters, and if there is a pull on the retina and that is leading to vitreous hemorrhage, then the patient may experience photopsia, and even there can be haze of the shadow in the visual field. If the vitreous hemorrhage is more, then there is sudden loss of vision. Okay, so depending upon the cause, it can be painful or painless. Like following trauma, if there is vitreous hemorrhage, then it will be painful sudden loss of vision. If it is following the ischemic syndromes, then it will be painless sudden loss of vision. Okay, so these are the symptoms of vitreous hemorrhage. What are the signs of vitreous hemorrhage? That also depends upon the amount of vitreous hemorrhage and where the hemorrhage is. So if the hemorrhage is very large or filling the vitreous cavity, then there is decrease in vision. Otherwise, the patient may have good vision, but the other symptoms of floaters will be present. So the vision can be varied, okay, depending upon the vitreous hemorrhage. If you do distant direct ophthalmoscopy, then you will see the pockets of the vitreous hemorrhage as black color shadow against the red glow. Okay, that again depends upon the amount of vitreous hemorrhage. If the hemorrhage is very small, then that is seen as a black shadow against red glow. If the hemorrhage is large and filling whole of the vitreous cavity, then no red glow is seen. Okay, then you have to do indirect ophthalmoscopy with the scleral depression to see the amount of vitreous hemorrhage and to look into the cause for the vitreous hemorrhage. So depending upon the site of vitreous hemorrhage, it can be either subhyaloid or within the vitreous cavity. So within the vitreous cavity also, it can be either in the anterior position, or it can be in the middle of the vitreous, or in the posterior part of the vitreous, or it can be filling all of the vitreous. Whenever there is a vitreous hemorrhage in the subhyaloid space, it is also called as pre-retinal hemorrhage. So such hemorrhages will assume this boat shape because the blood is trapped in the potential space between the posterior hyaloid as well as the internal limiting membrane of the retina. So it will have the boat shaped hemorrhage in case of subhyaloid hemorrhage. And when you do the IDO in case of hemorrhage which is filling the vitreous cavity, you will see dull glow and you will not be able to make out any of the retinal details. So that will be the findings with the IDO. And it is essential to do B-scan in case of vitreous hemorrhage if it is not associated with open lobe injury. So by doing B-scan, you will find out whether there is associated RD and the retinal detachment with this vitreous hemorrhage, or it is pure vitreous hemorrhage. This is very important finding because the treatment depends upon this B-scan finding. So what is the course of this vitreous hemorrhage? This course depends upon the cause for the vitreous hemorrhage and in which patient this vitreous hemorrhage is happening, like whether the patient is young or in the old patient, okay, and how much is the amount of vitreous hemorrhage. Usually it will clear at the rate of 1% per day, and if the patient is young with a strong collagen, then it will take little longer time to resolve, whereas in case of older patients, liquefaction of the vitreous, then the absorption of the blood is faster and it clears fast, okay. And the prognosis again depends upon the underlying cause. If it is just following trauma, then it is a one-time insult, then it can clear easily. If it is like following ischemia where there can be re-bleed from the new vessels which are formed, then it will take little longer time to clear. So what happens if you don't treat the vitreous hemorrhage or the vitreous hemorrhage is not resolving? So these are the complications of vitreous hemorrhage. It can lead to hemosiderosis bulbi, there can be proliferative vitreous retinopathy, or there can be ghost cell glaucoma or even the hemolytic glaucoma. So what is hemosiderosis bulbi? So this is the iron toxicity of the eyeball because of the lysed RBC. Usually after the lysis of the RBCs, the iron component is taken up quickly before the further lysis occurs. But if there is a mismatch between the clearing of the blood as well as the bleeding, then there can be hemocytosis bulbi. The second is proliferative vitreoretinopathy because of release of macrophages and the chemotactic agents which will stimulate the fibrosis and lead to PVR changes. The third is ghost cell glaucoma, that is a spherical, rigid, khaki colored RBCs which are filled with denatured hemoglobin. So these cells can seep into the anterior chamber and can clog the trabecular meshwork, leading to ghost cell glaucoma. The last one is hemolytic glaucoma because of either the free hemoglobin or the lysed RBCs or the macrophages which are engulf these lysed RBCs can come into the anterior chamber and block the trabecular meshwork again, leading to hemolytic glaucoma. So these are the complications of vitreous hemorrhage. So next moving on to the treatment of vitreous hemorrhage. So as I told, whenever it is possible, do B-scan and see whether there is RD or not. If there is no retinal detachment, then you can wait and watch. So ask the patient to limit his activities, keep the head in the elevated position, dent elevation. So this will help in settling the blood in the lower part of the eyeball so that you can visualize the upper part of the retina where the breaks are common. Okay, and you can supplement with the vitamin C and you can wait and watch for 2 to 3 months. So the next step in management is doing vitrectomy. So when you want to do the vitrectomy, there is non-clearing of the blood even after 2 to 3 months of waiting period, or if there is new vessels at the iris and the angle, or if the patient has developed complications like ghost cell glaucoma, and obviously if the patient is having associated retinal detachment, you have to do the vitrectomy. You can also give intravitreal hyaluronidase to treat the vitreous hemorrhage. If there is new vessels in the retina, you should treat with the laser photocoagulation. Once the vitreous hemorrhage clears, treat the underlying cause so that there is no further vitreous hemorrhage. So these are the treatment modalities for vitreous hemorrhage. So hope this video on vitreous hemorrhage is useful to all of you. If you like my videos, please do subscribe to my channel. Press the bell icon for further notifications. Please do like and share my videos and leave your valuable comments. Thank you so much.